In 2020, a man took his software company's entire cash reserve and bought Bitcoin with it. Wall Street laughed. Finance professors wrote op-eds about how reckless it was. His own shareholders were nervous. 5 years later, that same man controls nearly 767,000 Bitcoin, worth over $54 billion. He is simultaneously one of the most celebrated and most controversial figures in the history of finance. But here's what most people don't know. This is actually his second time building an empire from scratch. Because the first time, he lost $6 billion in a single day. This is the full story of Michael Saylor. Everything in this video is educational and based on verified public sources, not financial advice. Michael Saylor was born in 1965 in Lincoln, Nebraska, and because his father was an Air Force Chief Master Sergeant, he spent his childhood moving between military bases around the world, a disciplined background with no silver spoon. He earned a full ROTC scholarship to MIT, double majored in aeronautics and history of science, and was set for a military career, but a medical condition ended his pilot dreams, so he pivoted to business. In 1989, at just 24, Saylor co-founded MicroStrategy with $100,000 in seed money. He convinced his employer DuPont to give him, building business intelligence software that helped corporations make sense of their data before most people even understood what data analytics meant. It worked brilliantly. MicroStrategy went public in 1998, the stock doubled on the first day, and by early 2000 his net worth hit $7 billion, making him the wealthiest person in Washington, D.C., not Jeff Bezos, not a politician, but a 35-year-old software CEO from Nebraska. He was living like a rock star, Caribbean cruises for all employees every winter, a butler named Brian, parties with live albino pythons, the dot-com era's golden boy. Then came March 20th, 2000. MicroStrategy announced it had to restate 2 years of financial results, as it had been booking revenue from long-term software contracts all up front, making the books look healthier than they actually were, and auditors at PricewaterhouseCoopers pulled the plug. What looked like a $28 million profit for 1999 was actually a $37 million loss. The stock dropped 62% in a single day, and Saylor's net worth fell by $6 billion, making him the biggest single-day financial loser in history, even becoming a Trivial Pursuit answer. The SEC charged him and 2 other executives with accounting fraud. He settled for $8.3 million without admitting wrongdoing. The New York Daily News put him on the front page, and shareholders told him to burn in hell. By 2002, MicroStrategy's valuation had dropped 98%, from $18 billion to $40 million. The parties stopped. The cruises stopped. The buzz stopped. Most people would have walked away. Saylor did not. For the next 2 decades, Saylor kept his head down and rebuilt, quietly with no headlines or spectacle. MicroStrategy pivoted toward mobile analytics, helping companies make sense of the explosion in smartphone data. And in 2012, Saylor wrote The Mobile Wave, predicting mobile technology would eat the entire economy. It hit the New York Times bestseller list. He rebuilt his company, rebuilt his reputation, and stayed mostly out of the spotlight, living a quiet billionaire's life with a 7,000-square-foot Georgetown penthouse overlooking the Potomac and multiple yachts. Then 2020 arrived, COVID hit, the Federal Reserve started printing money at an unprecedented pace, and Saylor had a problem. MicroStrategy was sitting on cash, losing value every day. He started researching, and then he found Bitcoin. In August 2020, Saylor made a move nobody in corporate America had ever made. He took $250 million from MicroStrategy's treasury and bought Bitcoin. Then he did it again, and again, and again, issuing bonds, convertible notes, and preferred stock, raising billions on Wall Street and funneling it straight into Bitcoin. By April 2026, Strategy, renamed from MicroStrategy, holds 766,970 Bitcoin, with $58 billion spent at an average price of $75,644 per coin. The stock went from $14 in 2020 to a peak of $457 in 2025. A 3,000% gain as pension funds, retail investors, and over 200 companies followed his playbook and started buying Bitcoin. But here's where the story gets complicated. Not everything is sunshine and laser eyes. Since the $457 peak in 2025, mstr has fallen 72% to around $130. while Strategy reported a $14.46 billion unrealized Bitcoin loss in Q1 2026 and sits about $3.17 billion underwater. Peter Schiff argued Strategy's buying helped drive Bitcoin to $126,000 in 2025, and slowing purchases are now contributing to the decline. Then the tax issue. In June 2024, Saylor settled with Washington, D.C. for $40 million over claims he lived in his Georgetown penthouse while posing as a Florida resident to avoid taxes, with officials saying he openly bragged about it. He denied it. He paid anyway. So who is Michael Saylor, really? A man who built $1 billion company, lost it in a day, rebuilt for 20 years, then made the most concentrated corporate bet on a single asset. He faced accounting fraud settled, tax fraud settled. He hasn't sold a single coin, posting weekly buys, believing Bitcoin hits $1 million by 2035, calling volatility Satoshi's gift. Like, subscribe and comment. See you next one.